Hey guys, HardlyBriefDan here with a video to show you how to create custom extensions in C# that will be usable in Unity or other C# projects, so not just Unity, but the examples I'm going to show are for Unity. So the first thing that you guys need to do is have a project open. Here I have the 2015 tutorial series project. That's our Make an RPG project. I have a scripts folder in our project folder. And in the scripts folder, I have a other folder. This is for other scripts. And what we're going to do is create a C# script. And I'm going to call it custom extensions. So basically, we're going to store all the extensions that we need in this one script. You can do it however you want. It really doesn't matter. Don't attach the script. The script itself, the class, is going to be static, so don't attach it. It's not going to have model behavior, so you can't attach it to a game object, and you don't need an instance of it. But we'll talk more about that in just a second. So open that up into Visual Studio. Don't forget to save. I'll zoom in a bit for you, so hopefully you can see it. We have the same generic setup for any script in Unity. I'm going to erase model behavior. I'm going to delete the start and update functions because we don't need those. Control is to save. And now we want to make the static class, and we'll make the class static. Just by adding this keyword static here, tells the compiler that this class does not need an instance to exist. So now we want to create our methods. Now I'm going to create two methods, and I'll explain them as I create them, and then we're going to show them in action. So the first method we're going to create is a public. They're all going to be public and static, by the way. So it's going to be a public static void. We're not going to return anything. And we're going to say, call this one turn on or off game object. Now forgive me, I got a new keyboard here. I'm still getting used to the width of it, but that's alright. So here we have a generic method. It's public, it's static, it returns nothing, so it returns void, and we've given it a name. Now right away you can access this function. But what makes an extension method, and by extension method I mean you can have an object here, so this object, you can hit the period, make a dot, and IntelliSense will come up and have a list of methods that you can call. And this is what we want to do. So here, in order to do that, you need to go ahead and add a specific argument. And this argument is going to use the keyword this. Then it's going to take a type. So whatever type you want to have this extension method on. And for us, we want to extend off a game object. So we're going to say game object. So this game object, and we'll just go ahead and call it GO for game object. Lowercase g, capital O. So GO. So this says public static void turn off this game object. And we call it game object. And all we're going to do is look to see if this game object is active or not. So we're going to say if game object, so our GO here, is active self. This is the new way to check to see. You can do .active, but active self is the newer keyword here in Unity 5. So we'll say if game object is active, meaning are we turned on or not? Is it visible in the hierarchy? I'll show you that. So here in the project, the hierarchy, I have this inventory window. This little checkbox up here tells me if it's active or not. So if it's checked, it's active. If it's not, it's off. That's what that variable is. So go back into Visual Studio here, and we have if it's on, we want to go ahead and turn it off. So we're going to say game object dot set active. So now we're going to call this method. We're going to send it false. So we're turning it off if it's on, and we'll do else. GO, so our game object dot set active is true. So this just turns on and off a game object. Extremely simple, but it can be used in so many ways, in so many places. That's the first one that we want to do. It checks to see if it's on and turns it the opposite. So it checks what its state is and turns it to the opposite. Very simple. You can use it to turn on and off windows. Maybe you have a pool of bullets. You have a first-person shooter. You have a pool of bullets. You need to quickly turn them off and on. This is the way to do that. This is the way to handle that. And again, I will show you an example of this in just a moment. I want to go ahead and write the other one first. So now the other method we're going to work on is another public static method. it's going to actually return a type string, and we're going to say convert. It's going to be called convert bool to string. And I'll explain why this convert bool to string might not be descriptive enough if you have a larger project or program, but it's fine for this demonstration. And so now, as you can guess, it's returning a string because we're converting a bool to string. So the argument here for the method is going to be this, again, that keyword, this bool, the type, and we're going to call it value. So what we want to do is, since we're returning something, we want to look at this value. Well, my idea was, and this is what I used in a previous project of mine, was I had a debug window, and then I created another window that allowed the player to look at different values. Well, I didn't want the player to look at just a bool, a 1 or a 0, which is basically a bool, right? It's a 1 or a 0. So I wanted them to look at yes or no. It seemed more, or excuse me, bool's true or false. But I wanted the player to understand more of what it meant. So a simple way to convert the bool to a better way to look at it on screen was to make a extension. So basically, we take this bool. We're going to do another if statement here. We're going to say bool value. So if value is true, then we want to return a string, and that string for me is going to be yes. Now you might want to go ahead and say no or on, or excuse me, not no. You may want on is another one. Any kind of yes or no, on, off, one or the other type statements is what you're going to want for your bool. Basically, whatever your bool represents. Now we need the else statement here. This else statement is just going to return no. So if the bool is 0, it's going to return a no. If the bool is 1 or true, it's going to return a yes. And maybe you want it to return whatever you can come up with. That's the idea. So here we have two extension methods. One returns a type, one returns nothing. They both take different types of objects. We're going to go ahead and Control S to save. I'm going to go into Unity here. I'm going to create another script in, I guess we'll create in the other folder for now. I'm going to call it Input Manager. This is just to demonstrate the functionality of the extension methods. We'll call it Input Manager here, like that. Control S to save. Double click it, open it up in Visual Studio. I'm going to zoom in here so we can look at it, and we'll go ahead and keep the model behavior and all that stuff. So first things first, we need to create a public game object. We'll call it window, and we'll create a public bool, and we'll call it is alive. That's pretty explanatory. We'll set it equal to true at the start. So we have a public window and a public bool is alive. I'll show you. We'll do debug.log. At the start, we'll say is alive. So this is gonna, when we run the program here, it's going to, in our console window, it's going to show us what is alive is, should show us true. The window I made public so we can go ahead and attach a window to it. So Control S to save the script. Looks like it's not saving for me. Sometimes it doesn't work in Visual Studio, so I could just exit out of it. It saved it for me. Go into Unity. I'm going to drag the Input Manager script onto my main camera. We now have a window variable here I can assign, so I'm going to drag my inventory window to it. Is alive, you see is checked, it's true. We can go to the console menu. I'm going to clear all this. You'll see it build up. That's just for the other series. Go to our console, and you can see we exported true. This is the, or not exported, we displayed true. This is the variable. So if you don't want true or false in yours, and you want a different way to display your bools, that's where our extension method comes in. So that's the first one we'll do. We'll say debug.log is alive dot, and you'll see our convert to bool extension here in IntelliSense. It has a square and then a little arrow that goes down. So we're going to click that, convert to string, and don't forget your parentheses for the method and your semicolon. The other thing we're going to do, and I'll show you how all that works in just a second, is we're going to create our input. So, or we're going to show how the window, the game object turn off and on works. So we're going to create an if statement, and we're going to say input dot get key down. So we're looking for a keystroke that is pushing down. And this key, the key get key down takes a key code. So we're going to do key code dot, and I'm going to look for I. So all I'm saying is, hey, if the user pushes I, return, run whatever's in this if statement. And for me, the if statement here, what we want to do is window dot look for that turn on off game object, that extension. What is wrong with this? There we go. We need capital I, not a lowercase I. So in our update function, we're looking for an input get key down of I. That means if I hit the I button, it's going to run whatever's in these brackets here. In this case, we're going to see if that window is on or off and switch it to its opposite state. The other thing is we're going to see a true value here in the console, and then our convert bool to string, we should see yes. Control S to save, go into Unity, press play. I'll show you the console first. We have our true, then yes, it's converting that bool, so it's a little easier for me to read. I'm going to go into our game view, and I'm going to hit I, and you'll see our inventory window turns off and on. Pretty easy. Those are custom extensions in C#. They're usable in Unity, and they're definitely usable outside if you're working on another C# project. Hope you guys liked the video. Hope you learned something. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.